Okay, so just to let you know, I mean, this is like the first days, our first Teams days. Okay, so unfortunately, in Teams, if you want to set up a recurring meeting, right? So they don't offer you the option like Tuesday, Thursday. They don't offer you that. Okay, so which means you have to set up two different links. One links for Tuesday, one links for Thursday. All right. I know it's confusing, kind of, but when you go to the assignments, you're going to see each link there. All right. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and continue our, our inverse. We were talking about the inverse of a function, right? So we defined just what was a one-to-one function last time. We defined what was a one-to-one function. Okay. So we said a one-to-one function has to pass, the graph has to pass the horizontal line test, right? The graph has to pass the horizontal line test for a one-to-one function. So, and so basically a function is one-to-one when every x has one y and every y has one x. That is a one-to-one function. So now when a function is one-to-one, it has what we call an inverse function. Okay, and the inverse function here, not to be confused with the inverse of a number. The inverse of a number, for instance, the inverse of 5 is 1 over 5. That is when we talk arithmetics, when we do like the division and the multiplication, okay? The inverse of a number is 1 over that number. Here, we're not talking about that. The inverse of f is not 1 over f, okay? It's different. It is a process here. The inverse of a function here, we're talking about a process. For instance, you see, so when we say this function right here, 1, 2, 3, right, 4, 5, 6. So this function is one-to-one. You see, this function f is one-to-one, right? F is a one-to-one function, right? All of us agree with that?
Yes.
X has one y and his y has one x. So this is a one-to-one function. Now, if f is a one-to-one, so f has an inverse function. Now, we label that function. We don't call it g, we don't call it h, we label that function, labeled what? F, and then you put -1. You see? This -1 is not to be taken as a pure exponent. It's not like a pure exponent, okay? It is more a notation, it is more a label than it is an exponent, okay? It is more a label than it is an exponent. So, okay, let me see if Sharif is here. So give me a second. I'm going to go to Zoom. Somebody is lost in Zoom, so to tell them to connect here in Teams. All right, so. Okay, so you see this -1 here that you see is not an exponent. It is more something like just a label. Okay, now we can think, okay, where's the -1 come from? We can do the analogy with the exponent, okay? But we're gonna take it as is. It's just, this is not an exponent here, not an exponent, right? Okay, so what f-1 means? Look, this is what f-1 means. What is f of 1 here? From this one, for instance, you say f of 1 is 4, right?
Yeah.
Since f minus 1 is the inverse, what f minus 1 will say then? F minus 1 will say f minus 1 of 4 is 1, right? You see, what was an x here will be a y here. So if I want to do f minus 1, the inverse of f, I will do this. I will do everybody that was an x here will become a y here. See, it will be 1, 2, 3 here, 4, 5, 6, and then it's going to be like that. That is exactly the inverse, you see? That is exactly the inverse function. So f minus 1 of 4 is 1. For instance, how much is f of 2? F of 2 is?
5.
5. So what's going to be the inverse? What's going to be the reverse way? If you want to do it,
It's 2.
it's going to be f minus 1 of 5 is equal to what?
2.
2. You see? The last one, how much is f of 3?
6.
F of 3 is
6.
6. What's going to be the f minus 1 form? What's going to be the inverse form then?
F minus 1 of 6 is 3.
Is equal to 3, right? This is how we understand the inverse. The inverse function is the reverse stuff. For instance, the machine, the vending machine, right? If your function, if your input is the coin, the quarters, and then your output will be the chips, right? Let's assume that is an inverse function. I mean, this is a one-to-one function, which means for each input, for each price, you have one item that's going to go out, right? What's going to be, what machine will represent the inverse? What kind of machine will represent the inverse? What you going to put in and what you're going to get out?
Machine. I am dumb.
Hmm? Do you understand my question? Somebody, do you understand my question? I said, if my function is a vending machine, when we talk about vending machine as a function, what is the input? What is the X?
The money.
The money, right? What's going to be the output? What is the Y? Whatever you get out, right? You know, drink or chips or candy or whatever you get out, okay? That's going to be your Y. Now, if that function is one-to-one, and we want to create an inverse machine, what is the reverse machine? What's going to be now the input now in that reverse machine? What you want to put in? The
candy?
The candies, right? Whatever is in the vending machine, that's going to be your new X. What are going to be the new Y?
Money?
The quarters, right? It's like a refund. You know, when you go to a store, you give money and you get the item out. That is your function F. What is the refund? What the refund does? The refund, you're going to put the item and then you get back the money, right? Okay, that is inversing the function. But it is not a division, it's not 1 over. It is a reverse process, okay? That is the inverse of a function. And it's only possible if the function is one-to-one. If the function is not one-to-one, you cannot inverse it. You cannot revert it, right? Okay? So now let's define the inverse of a function. If f is a one-to-one function, is a one-to-one function, then f admits an inverse function noted f minus 1, right? F noted f minus 1. See f minus 1. Such that, what is the definition of f minus 1? It's very simple. Such that, you see, when f of x is equal to y, sorry about that. If f of x is equal to y, okay, if f of x is equal to y, then what is the other way around? What is the other way around? Somebody. Then what? F minus 1 of what equal to what? F minus 1 of?
Y equal to x.
F minus 1 of y is equal to x, right? That is the relationship between f and y. You see, they swap variables. Whatever was in the domain of f will be now in the range of f minus 1. Whatever was in the domain of f minus 1 will be in the range of f, right? They swap variables. So basically, I have x here, I have y here. If I go this way, I got f. The inverse is when we go the other way around. You see? Like this. Okay? So, very, very, very clearly, the domain of f will be the range of f minus 1, right? The domain of f minus 1 is a range of f, and the range of f minus 1 will be the domain of f. Okay? So what was an input will be an output here. What was an output will be an input here. Okay? So that is the definition of the inverse. That is the definition of the inverse, right? But what you're going to do next is trying to find how to get the inverse, right? Let's see this example right here. If you have f of x, an example which is very simple, 2x plus 1. Or, I mean, let's do an example which is very simple, x of x equals x minus 3, right? So look, how much is f of 5? Everybody, how much is f of 5, for instance? F of 5 is?
2.
Is 2, right? F of 5 is 2. So how much then? What is f minus 1 of 2 then? What is f minus 1 of 2? Clearly, it's going to be 5, right? You see, f of 5 is 2. I have 5 is plugged into 2 using f. So now, if you do f minus 1, it's going to be f minus 1 of 2 is 5, right? The other way around. Okay? So now,
Question.
yes?
Where exactly would we be in our textbook right now? And Alex.
Okay, so that is a good question. When we were about to introduce this section, I said in the other textbook, this section would be in the chapter 2. But unfortunately, in this one, the Miller stuff, which I don't understand even, this textbook was, the section is in 4.1. But I prefer to do it right now. But it is in 4.1 if you want to read it, right? It's something I never understood. You know, the other textbook, you know, all the other textbooks that we used before, they have this section right after 2.7, right after, okay? That is the last one in chapter 2. But for this textbook that comes with Alex, they do it in chapter 4. I don't get it, but, you know, we don't have to follow the, you know, the textbook in each section, okay? But each chapter 4.1. All right, so right here, look now, if I ask this now, if I ask how much is f minus 1 of 7? When I ask you what is f minus 1 of 7, do you plug in 7 over there? And say this is 7 minus 3 is 4. Do you say that?
No.
You see, I need some people, I need some people to interact with me, probably, maybe not all of you, but at least to have a sense, some people are listening, okay? Because if that, it's very hard to understand, to see if people understood or not, if I don't get no feedback, okay? It's very hard, this is a very hard way to teach, if you have no interaction at all. So when I say f minus 1 of 7, right? So do we plug in 7 in the function x over there? I mean, f of x. Do we put 7 minus 3?
No, I don't think so.
We don't do that because this 7 right here is not an input for x, because here we're talking here f minus 1. What is the other way to ask the question, basically? What is the other way to ask the question if you want to get the answer, like, very easily? The other way to ask the question would be, right? For instance, what number to plug it in f to get 7, right? That would be the question to ask, what number we plug in f to get 7? See, that we're saying, because here, this 7, when it comes to f, this 7 is not an input. This 7 is an output. This, when it comes to f, 7 is here, is a y value, and we are asking here, what was the x value that will give you 7 as a y value, right? Okay, what that is, so what is that x then? What is that x?
Is it 10?
It's 10, right? Thank you very much. That x is 10, right? So that x value is 10. When you do 10 minus 3, what you get? It's 10 because f of 10 is 7, right? Okay, so when we get 10, actually in my head, I solve some equation. How I get 10? How I got 10? In my head, I did here, this is a y value, okay? This is a y value. I did in my head, what number minus this equal to 7? This is what I did, right? I solved in my head, I solved the equation, x minus 3 equals 7, f of x equals 7 here, right? Okay, that's what I said. I solved in my head, and then I added 3 on both sides, so I get x equal 10, right? Okay, so, and this is what you're going to do every time. If you want to find f minus 1, you have to solve some type of equation, okay? For the same function, what's going to be f minus 1 of 5? What do you think? What's going to be f minus 1 of 5?
Is it
What's
2?
going to be?
No, it's not 2.
F of x is x minus 3, right? What's going to be f minus 1 of 5? F minus 1 of 5.
8.
It's going to be 8, right?
8, yeah.
You see how I get 8, how I come up with 8. I solved the equation f of x equal 5, right? I solved the equation f of x equal 5, which is x minus 3 equal 5, which is x equal 8, right? Okay, so that is what you're going to do. If you want to find f minus 1, you have to solve f of x equal y. Okay, so that is, so in general, that is what we're going to do. So how to find f minus 1? How to find f minus 1, right? And that's going to be our topic. How to find f minus 1 of x, right? So basically, in the function, when you say f of x, when you say y equal f of x, which variable is by itself? Is y, right? Y here is a dependent variable. Y depend on x. Y is by itself. Y depend on x. What is the process of finding the inverse? Which variable now we have to manage to get by itself now? Inverse, we have to manage to get x by itself, you see? And that is the whole process of inverting a function. If you're able to write x equal f minus 1 of y, you see now, which one now you have by itself now? X, okay? If you're able to write that, then you find the inverse, okay? So to find the inverse, we have to go from an equation where y is by itself, and we do what you have to do to get x by itself, right? That's it. See, we have to go from the equation f of x equal y, where y is alone, and we do whatever steps needed to be done to get x by itself, okay? So basically is go from the equation y equal f of x and try to solve for y, for x. That is finding the inverse. Now this term solve for x is very loaded, okay? If the example is easy, then it's very easy to solve for x. If the example is hard, it's going to be very hard to solve for x, right? So let's see an example right here. Somebody asked me, find f of x equal to 3x minus 1. And somebody asked me in the test, find f minus 1 of x. Okay, I'm asked to find what is f minus 1 of x. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to start, this is the first example. First, start by setting the equation y equals 3x minus 1 equals y, right? F of x equals y. We set that equation right here. And then solve for x. In this case, is it a big deal to solve for x in this case? Is it a big deal? What you have to do first if you want to get x by itself? We're gonna add 1. So we get 3x is equal to y plus 1, right? And then we're going to divide by
3.
Divide by 3. So we get x equal, you see x equal to y plus 1 over 3. So basically what I have here, I got my inverse now. This is f minus 1 of y. Remember, if f of x equal to y, then f minus 1 of y is equal to x, right? I'm done. But then I put this answer in my Alex, and the Alex tells me I'm wrong. You see, I have Alex right here. They asked me to put f minus 1 of x equal. I did my math. I input this one as y plus 1 over 3. And then Alex tells me I'm wrong, gives me a 0. What would be the reason? Did I do something wrong? Did I do a mistake? What would be the reason? What could be the reason Alex tells you you are wrong, even though you got the right answer?
How you write it?
How I wrote it.
Like how you write it. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a good idea. So now what could be wrong in my writing?
Like you might have to do, I guess, y over 3 plus like maybe 1 over 3.
Okay. Yeah. That could be, but You know, mathematically is exactly the same. So if Alex blame me for that, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be mad, you know, against Alex. Okay. So look at the left side and look at the right side. Look at the left side, look at the right side. Alex is giving me a box where I have to put my answer, and they wrote f-1 of x equal, and then they gave me a box, and then I put y plus 1 over 3. What could be wrong here? What doesn't match?
Is it the X and Y part?
The x and the y don't match. You see, Alex is a computer. If Alex, what variable Alex is expecting to see? Since they gave me f-1 of x right here, they expect to see what variable then? X, right? It's just a machine. It doesn't understand. When the machine expects x, you have to put x, right? But this is a quick fix. That is a very quick fix. What I do, the third step is change y to x. What I do, so I got f-1 of x is equal, you see this y, I put x here, is x plus 1 over 3. That's it. Again, this last step is a formal step. This last step is just for me to have the two variables be the same, right? By the way, when you have this, when you have f of x equal x plus 1 over 3, you have f of y equals y plus 1 over 3. You have f of z equals z over 1 over 3, right? Z plus 1 over 3. How many functions do you see here? How many functions do you see here? How many functions do you see? 1 or 3?
I think 1.
Only one function. This is just one function, okay? The variable here is called a mute variable. As long as the variable here and the variable here, they match, it doesn't matter how you call them, okay? You have just to make them match, okay? So when I write f-1 of y is equal to y plus 1 over 3, that is a very good answer. The only reason we change x to y, because look at the question right here. Look at the question. What did it ask me to find? f-1 of what? Of x, you see? If I was asked to find f-1 of w, I would put w at the end, right? Okay, so these are the steps to find the inverse. Basically, you start with an equation where y is by itself, and you do whatever necessary to get x by itself, okay? And then you're done. So let's do another example. So for instance, we say f of x or g, let's call it g. G of x equal to, you know, x and negative 9x plus 7, right? Find g minus 1 of x. Again, what you have to do first, what you do first? First, we set what? We set negative 9x plus 7 equal to y, right? And then second, what you do? You're going to solve for x, right? Solve for x. Minus 7 minus... yeah, so it is a g. We called it g, right? At the end, we're going to say g minus 1 of x equal, right? Is negative 9x plus 7 equal to y. So we're going to solve for x. We're going to say 9x is equal to negative 9 is y minus 7. And then we're going to divide by negative 9. So we get x equal to y minus 7 over negative 9, right? So what's going to be my answer then? G minus 1 of x, what I do to the y? I change it to x. It's going to be x minus 7 over negative 9. That's it. That's my answer. That is the inverse function. Now, if you want to check my answer, for instance, what is g of 1 here is -9 plus 7, which is -2, right? What is g minus 1 of -2? Let's plug in -2 here. What is g minus 1 of -2? -2 minus 7 divided by -9, which is exactly 1. You see? This is exactly the inverse. All right? So we're going to start with some easy examples where it's very easy to solve for x. And then we're going to go to examples where you have to do some steps, right? So let me give you these two examples. So f of x Go ahead, everybody. Find f minus 1, find g minus 1, find h minus 1 of x. Okay, I know some good 5 minutes, everybody. Oh, all right. So I think it's been okay. So, the first one. So again, these are like the first examples. Maybe we don't have a lot of steps to do. Okay, it's just to understand the procedure, right? Just to understand what I'm looking for, what I want to do. Okay. So who gonna tell us what they did?
I can.
I can.
Okay, please go ahead. So what you do first?
We set the equation equal to y.
10x plus 3 equal to y. Yeah, and then
Subtract 3 from both sides.
subtract 3 from both sides. Thank you. We get 10x equal to y minus 3, and then
You divide y minus 3 by 10.
divide by 10. Thank you. And then you're gonna write your answer, right? What you gonna write? How are you gonna write your answer?
F of x minus 1 is equal to x minus 3 divided by 10.
Exactly. You see, we just swap. We just change y to x. X minus 3 divided by 10. Thank you very much. All right. You see. How about the next one? Who's gonna tell us the next steps? Somebody. Who's going to tell us the next steps? Okay, go ahead, please.
First, you rewrite the equation as y equal to x minus 5 over 4.
Yep, x minus 5 equal to y, right? And then what you did next?
Multiply both sides by 4.
Thank you very much. That's very good. Because we want to simplify, we want to cancel the denominator by 4, right? And then
add 5 to both sides.
Yeah, and then add 5 to both sides. So we get f g minus 1 of x equal to how much?
4x plus 5.
4x plus 5. Thank you. That's good. The last one. Somebody else. Was the last one. Okay, if I don't hear no volunteer, does it mean this one is too much for everybody? Does it mean this one was? Yeah, go ahead.
And then you add 4.
You add 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get x cubed is y plus 4. What you do next?
Cube y 4, I think, for y.
Okay, you're gonna take what? You're gonna cube it or what? What is exactly the word? What you do on both sides? You're gonna take what?
Oh, I mean the cube root, sorry.
Exactly, cube root, thank you. So you get x equal to cube root of y plus 4. Everybody remember, if you want to cancel x cubed, you have to take the cube root. So h minus 1 of x is equal to cube root of x plus 4, right? Okay, so we can say these examples, I don't mean to say they are easy, but they don't ask lots of steps. Now, if I do f of x now, what is f minus 1 of x? Please don't tell me f minus 1 of x is equal to what? What's going to be, what could be the answer of somebody in the test who is stuck? What's going to be the likely answer they want to write? F minus 1 of x is?
Y.
I mean, what answer they're going to write, which is very, very wrong, You see, we say the inverse of the function, and they see f of x equal 1 over 5x minus 3. I don't know what to do. I write f minus 1 of x is equal to 5x minus 3 over 1, right? Please don't tell me that, right? That is very wrong. You see, the inverse function, when we say inverse function, we don't mean to flip the fraction. We don't mean that at all, right? We don't mean that at all. This is very, very different. Actually, you guys gonna follow the same process. You guys is gonna say, 1 over 5x minus 3 equal to y, and then you try to solve it. Okay, let me let you like a couple of minutes for you try to solve it. All right. So this one right here, of course, this one at first sight, this one is kind of okay, a little bit harder than the other ones, right? Do you agree with that? You know, one can get confused, you know, with this equation right here because the x is at the bottom, right? But look, we learned how to solve rational equations. We learned how to do that. And one of the easiest way to do that, is to multiply by the LCD, right? So for instance here, we can go ahead and multiply by what?
5x minus 3.
Thank you. 5x minus 3 on both sides, right? So what you get? We get 1 equal, and then what you're going to do next? We're going to distribute. Remember, I want to get x by itself, right? It's going to be 5xy minus 3y. Okay? And I can go ahead and add 3y on both sides. So I get 1 plus 3y is equal to 5xy. I need to divide by what to get x by itself? On both sides, I need to divide by what to get x by itself?
5.
5 what?
Oh, xy.
No, I want to get x by itself, so I have to divide by 5 what? 5 times 5y, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they can cancel out, you see? I divide by 5y. So I got f minus 1 of x is equal to 1 plus 3x over 5x. All right. So that is one of the easiest ways. To solve something like that. Okay. One of the easiest ways to solve something like that. This example has more steps than the one we did before, right? Okay, go ahead, do this one right here. F of x what is f minus 1 of x right here at the end? F minus 1 of x is equal. Go ahead, I'll let you like a couple of minutes to do that. All right, so can somebody walk us through the steps for this one? Please.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
you multiply by the LCD, so you
So at first you're gonna set it to y, right?
yeah, you set it to y,
Uh-huh.
and multiply by the LCD, and then you
Which is
multiply.
what? What is LCD?
It's 2x plus 9.
2x plus 9, 2x plus 9. Yep. Uh-huh.
Then you add because you end up with 2xy plus 9y. Then you subtract 9y from each side.
Exactly. 2xy plus 9y because we distribute, so we subtract 9y from both sides.
And then you divide by 2y to get x by itself.
Thank you very much. We get -3 minus 9y is equal to 2xy. So we're going to divide by 2y, divide by 2y to get x by itself, right?
Yeah, and
so
then
we
you
get
x for y. So you get f of -1, or f of inverse f of x is equal to -3 minus 9x over 2x.
Thank you. That's exactly good. Thanks very much. Okay, everybody see that? So now to be more complete in this section, we're gonna do another one, which is more f of x equal to 2x minus 8 divided by x, plus 7. Again, when we ask you what is f minus 1 of x, even if you are stuck in the test, please don't write this. You see, please don't write this. This is flat wrong, right? What you're gonna do? So basically, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna say 2x minus 8 over x plus 7 is equal to y, right? Tell me, what's gonna be the next step?
We take the x plus 7 and multiply it by and distribute the y into it.
Yeah, so you're gonna cross multiply basically, you multiply by x plus 7. So you get 2x minus 8 is equal to, and then you're going to distribute, right? xy plus 7y. Please, when you distribute, please don't forget to distribute the y to everybody, to the x and to the 7, right? Okay, what you going to do next? Remember my focus. Go ahead.
Add 8.
Add 8 on both sides, right? So you get 2x is equal to xy plus 7y plus 8. What's gonna be your next step?
Divide by x on the right side and plus.
No, that is kind of, the division is premature, right? And first, and then second of all, we want to find x by itself. So if anything, we would divide by y, right? But it is premature. We don't divide yet. Remember, we need the x by itself. But here, how many x terms do you see?
2. So you gotta subtract 2x from both sides?
Yeah, you have to have the x terms by themselves. Since I already have 7y plus 8 on the right side, I can have the x's on the left side, right? You see, minus xy minus xy. So I get 2x minus xy is equal to 7y plus 8. You see, you have to have group the x terms on the one side, group x terms on one side, and other terms on the other side. Okay? Now comes the crucial step now. What you gonna do next? What you gonna do next? Remember, you want to have x by itself.
Now divide by 1?
Not yet. I have two terms with x, right? The division will be the last stuff to do. Somebody tells me what we have to do here.
Is it subtract 2x from each side?
And then you're gonna, we have what you want because we have all the x terms on one side. That we have. So we don't want to lose that. But here, since what I see x here, I see x here. What can I do? I can factor out x. Okay? Factor out x, what's going to be? It's going to be x factor 2 minus y, right? Equal to 7y plus 8. You see? I know lots of students, they get stuck at this step, but don't forget to factor, right? Because before you divide, you have to have x, like, 1x. Before you divide, you have to see only 1x, okay? Now you have to divide by what to get x by itself now? Now you have to divide by 2 minus
2
y.
minus y.
Exactly. 2 minus y, 2 minus y. So now you get x equals 7y plus 8 over 2 minus y. And now you are done. So you got f minus 1 of x is 7x plus 8 over 2 minus x. Everybody sees these steps right here? I think in the test, everybody will do this step right. I think when it comes to this step, some people, they divide by y very, very, very quickly. Don't divide yet. You have to have this, all the x terms on one side, and you have to have all the numbers on the other side. I mean, not the numbers, all the other terms on the other side, right? But all the x terms should be on the same side, on one side, right? Then comes this step right here. After you got all the x terms on one side, don't forget to factor out the x, right? And then you are done, okay? You see, that is the example in this topic. That is the example where you have the most steps, right? I'm gonna give you another one here. So f minus 1 of x, f of x. All right, please, I'm gonna let you some good minutes to do both of them. Try to follow exactly the same steps we wrote before. All right. So what did you get as a final answer from the first one?
Professor, I have to leave class early to go to work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll finish this rest on the recording.
Okay, no
Okay,
problem.
thank you.
Mhm.
Bye.
Thanks. All right. Okay, so this one right here, somebody walk us through the steps, please. When you say equal y, what you do?
You multiply by 2x plus 5 on both sides.
Yep. So you get 7x minus 3 is equal to y times 2x plus 5. And then what you do next? Distribute 7x minus 3 is 2yx or 2xy, doesn't matter, right? Plus 5y. And then now comes, yes, go ahead.
Oh, add 3 and subtract 7x as well.
Thank you. Add 3, we're going to do it 2 at once, right? Add 3 and subtract what?
7x.
No,
Yeah,
you see,
7x.
when you add 3, you are electing to put the other terms on the right side. In that way, you have to subtract 2xy. Okay? So you get to 7x minus 2xy on one side, and then 5y plus 3 on the other side. Okay?
Then you factor out x on the left side.
And then you factor out the x on the left side, so the x parentheses 7 minus 2y, and here 5y plus 3. And then finally you divide by 7 minus 2y, you get x equal 5y plus 3 over 7 minus 2y, which give you f minus 1 of x is 5x plus 3 over 7 minus 2x. All right? So, and the same goes here, equal to y, so we get x minus 1 equal to y parentheses x plus 1, right? And then what next? Next, you're going to distribute, right? So you get x minus 1 is equal to xy plus y. Then you're gonna add 1 here on both sides and then subtract xy from both sides, right? So you get x minus xy is equal to y plus 1. Okay, now when you factor out x, what you get? X parentheses what?
You get what is it?
Negative y. Oh, negative y1. 1 negative y.
1 minus y.
1 minus y, because the number in front of this x is 1. It's going to be 1 minus y equal to y plus 1, right? So you get x equal y plus 1 over 1 minus y, right? So we get f minus 1 of x is x plus 1 over 1 minus x. All right? So very likely in the test, you're going to see maybe like an easy example where you have a couple of steps to do, and then a longer example where you have more steps to do, okay? So by the way, when you check the calendar, you're going to see that our next quiz will be next week, right? Am I right or not?
1 sec.
You see, I don't know, if you check regularly the calendar, you have to check regularly the calendar. So I think the calendar says our quiz number 2 is Tuesday, October, let me check. Yeah, quiz number 2 is Tuesday, October the 19th. So our quiz number 2 will be open right after class next week. It's going to be just like quiz number 1, okay? It's going to be set up. So it's going to be set up the same way, you know, as quiz number 1, which means I open it up on Tuesday, and then you'll have the whole day to do it. Okay. You will have the whole day to do it. Yes.
It's on Blackboard, right?
Brightspace, yeah.
I mean Brightspace. I don't see it on there.
No. It's not open yet. It's next week.
No. I don't see a notification on there that we have.
No,
a
I mean,
quiz.
I didn't set it up yet. It is just on the calendar. When I say calendar, it's in the syllabus.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking the syllabus. You know, the syllabus has all the dates. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be open up next Tuesday right after class, and then you have the whole day to do it. For those of you who have like time extension, I will set it up, right? It's gonna be just like the test number 1. I mean, quiz number 1. You're gonna open the quiz. You're gonna do it on free paper, and you're gonna submit it in the assignment. You open in quiz, and you're gonna submit in assignment, just like quiz number 1. Okay, we're gonna test on what? We're gonna test on transformational functions.
Inverse functions, transformations of functions.
Yeah. Okay. Let me list all the stuff right here. Transformer functions, right? Reading. You know, domain, range, increasing, decreasing, etc. from a graph. Algebra of functions. Each topic will have one question, and then inverse of functions. So each one, I mean, you know, not questions meant to be, you know, meant to be complicated, like some simple functions. For instance, transformational function, I could give you a graph and then say graph f of x graph y equals, you know, a simple one, y equals f of x plus 3 minus 2, you see? And then you have to remember how to go. Here we go to the left 3, and then we go down 2, etc., etc. And then you do the graph, okay, on paper. And reading domain range, I give you a graph, and from that graph you have to tell me what is a domain, what is a range, what interval of x where f is increasing, what interval of x where f is decreasing. Algebra of functions probably asks you how to add, you know, give you f and g, ask you what is f plus 1, what is f plus g of 1, for instance, or what is f circle g of x, okay? And then inverse of a function is exactly what you did today, okay? So that's going to be quiz number 2. And then for meanwhile, before the quiz number 2, I will go ahead and calculate what we call the progress grade. The progress grade is a snapshot of your grade. I will take into account the quiz we did, quiz number 1, the test we did, and then whatever objective is closed in Alex. You know, I have to go there and get the grades over there, you know, and then I give them the proportion. For instance, the test is worth 15%. I will count it on 15 points. One quiz is worth, the quiz is worth 5%. I will count it 5 points. And then whatever we did in Alex, for instance, the whole Alex is 10%. We are about the middle. We're going to say about, okay, let's count it for 4 points, 4%. And then that's going to be a true snapshot of your grade. If you have an A, it is a true A so far. If you have a B, it is a true B so far. If you have an F, it is true F so far, right? So that's going to be, I will do that before we do the quiz number 2, okay? I will give you the progress grade before the quiz number 2, because I don't want the quiz number 2 comes and you know, and change everything, okay? I want to give you a grade before that quiz number 2, okay? All right. Do you have any questions? All right, everybody. See you next week, okay? And then, you know, when we open up the quiz after class next week, Tuesday next week, please do not miss it. If you have a whole 24 hours to do like 4 or 5 questions, you cannot say I didn't, you know, you cannot, like, there is no reason not to do it, okay? No reason not to do it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Al.
Thank you.